Join the community, guys. Hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed this video, and thumbs the video up if you enjoyed it. Y'all niggas need to stop giving Deontay Wilder a pass, son. You see, a lot of you guys give Deontay Wilder a pass. A lot of you guys. I remember when Deontay Wilder was first coming up. A lot of you niggas said that Deontay Wilder was fighting bums because he turned pro at 23 because he started boxing at 19. So you guys use this excuse to let Deontay Wilder get away with the fact that he was fighting such shit level opposition for the majority of his fights. For the first 30 fights, it was a bunch of bums. When Anthony Joshua beat Charles Martin, a lot of you niggas said that Charles Martin was a bum. You had guys in the LDBC saying that was easy money for Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua. That's why they paid Charles Martin handsomely to get him over to the UK, because they knew that was easy money, right? They called and labeled Charles Martin a bum. An easy IBF title win for Mr. Anthony Joshua. But it's like, bitch, how good was Bermane-Stiverne? Bermane-Stiverne? Who the hell did Bermane-Stiverne fight? Who the hell did Wilder fight before fighting Stiverne? Wilder, you know, Joshua fought for a world championship belt with less than 16 fights. I think he had 16 fights under his belt. And he fought an undefeated fighter, a young fighter in his prime, in Charles Martin. And he beat him. Now let's compare that to Deontay Wilder. People praise Deontay Wilder for beating Stiverne, but they shit on Anthony Joshua for beating Charles Martin. But Deontay Wilder fought Bermane-Stiverne in his like 32nd professional fight, fighting nothing but bums, did not deserve a title shot. And then he beat Stiverne. Again, who was Stiverne? Stiverne is a guy that struggled against, you know, a 40-year-old Ray Austin. The same Ray Austin that got destroyed in like 30 seconds against Vladimir Klitschko. Well, maybe 3 minutes. And in his prime, Ray Austin got destroyed against Vladimir Klitschko. Yet a washed-up Ray Austin was giving Bermane-Stiverne all he could handle. Bermane-Stiverne beat Chris Arreola. Chris Arreola is no world elite heavyweight. Chris Arreola got spanked. He got spanked so hard against Vitaly Klitschko that he cried in the post-fight. You guys remember the post-fight interview? He cried because he lost and he got spanked against Mr. Vitaly Klitschko. And that was a prime Chris Arreola. By the time he fought Bermane-Stiverne, he was over the hill. He was damaged goods. I know he was damaged goods because just a year later, he was looking like absolute shit against guys like Travis Kaufman. He looked like a shot fighter a year after he got knocked out against Bermane-Stiverne. So I already know that Chris Arreola was shot. And again, Chris Arreola was never that good. He was just like a fighter to a heavyweight contender who was there just to be there. He was never any world beater. Okay? But you guys gave Deontay Wilder a pass and said, oh, look, praised them for beating Bermane-Stiverne. And then shit it all over Anthony Joshua for beating Charles Martin, saying that was an easy cherry-picked title win. But it's like, there's a difference. At least, if you really think about it, Anthony Joshua earned facing for a world championship belt, unlike Deontay Wilder, because Deontay Wilder was fighting 32 bums before he fought for a world championship belt. And all those guys and all those opponents were against low-level quality opponents. But if you think about it, look at who Anthony Joshua fought before fighting for a world championship belt. He fought Dillian White. Dillian White, look at how good Dillian White is currently. Dillian White hasn't lost a single fight since losing to Anthony Joshua. That was, you know, that's why I keep telling you guys, Anthony Joshua's victory over Dillian White gets better and better every year. It gets better and better every year because the guys that Dillian White has been beaten. Dillian White would be a champion had Joseph Parker still been the WBO champ. Right now, Dillian White would be a WBO heavyweight champion. Dillian White is an underrated fighter, guys. But he beat him to challenge for a world championship belt against Charles Martin. So who's better, beating Dillian White and then fighting for a world championship belt, or beating bum-ass Jason Gavin, a guy with 17 losses? Who's better? I got all day. Come on. Don't tell me is Deontay Wilder's better, because you know that's a damn lie. Right? Deontay Wilder does not fight Vladimir Klitschko. Doesn't fight him. Doesn't fight him when he was a contender. People were asking him to fight Vladimir Klitschko when he was a contender. When he was a contender, people were asking him to fight him. Back in 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015. During this particular time, it was the Klitschko era, and people wanted him to fight him because they were sick and tired of Deontay Wilder's resume as a professional boxer. So they were like, you know what, test yourself. Everyone keeps saying you're the next Mike Tyson, you're a big puncher. Well, fight Klitschko. Let's see if you can knock his ass out and become unified heavyweight champion of the world. He never fought him. When he was a contender, he never fought him. I don't care what anyone says. People love to tell me that Vladimir Klitschko ducked him, but the fact is he never fucking fought him. Then he became a champion. He had another opportunity. He could have been undisputed. Right there, had he fought Klitschko and had he beaten Klitschko, he would have been undisputed. Right now, he would be undisputed for 4 years, but he didn't do it. So he wasn't willing enough to face Vladimir Klitschko for the titles in the first place. And instead, he took the easy route. He went for Vermaine Stavern, who won the vacant WBC belt. Right? He never fought Vladimir Klitschko. He never challenged him. People gave him a pass. His own management team and people on his team were saying that he was too green for Vladimir Klitschko. They were saying he was too green for Vladimir Klitschko, and he had like 32 professional fights, but he was too green, right? So Deontay Wilder fans gave him a fucking pass for ducking Vladimir Klitschko when he was a contender and ducking Vladimir Klitschko when he won the WBC strap, right? But then they gave Anthony Joshua shit. They gave Anthony Joshua shit for facing Vladimir Klitschko. They said he was over the hill. They tried to discredit him and say he was over the hill. I'm not going to give Anthony Joshua credit. So they discredit Anthony Joshua. They didn't give him no credit. They bullied him when he had a tough fight with Vladimir Klitschko, a long-reigning champion. But they didn't say nothing. They stood quiet when Deontay Wilder blatantly ducked Vladimir Klitschko for several years. If I was an Anthony Joshua fan, I would be embarrassed that a fucking prospect, a guy who wasn't even pro when people were begging me to face Vladimir Klitschko, managed to fight Vladimir Klitschko first than him. Deontay Wilder should feel embarrassed about that. A fucking prospect. People wanted Deontay Wilder to face Vladimir Klitschko before Anthony Joshua even turned pro, when he was still in the amateurs. Yeah, by some incredible miracle, Anthony Joshua turns pro and he still manages to face Vladimir Klitschko first. You know what I'm saying? But people gave Anthony Joshua a hard time for fighting Vladimir Klitschko, but they didn't give Deontay Wilder a hard time for ducking Vladimir Klitschko, right? And then it's such a hypocrite. Then Anthony Joshua beats Vladimir, becomes WBA champion of the world. And once again, people want to discredit him. So they gave him no credit for beating Charles Martin when he won the IBF strap. Then he beats Vladimir Klitschko to unify. And now he has the IBF strap, the WBA strap, and they still give him a hard time. They say he fought an old Klitschko. No credit. Then he beats Joseph Parker, and they act like Joseph Parker wasn't shit. People were saying Joseph Parker was the weakest champion out there. They said he was trash. Nobody was giving Anthony Joshua credit for beating Joseph Parker. He becomes unified, wins 3 belts. Still none. Still Deontay Wilder's the boogeyman. Deontay Wilder goes life and death against a 40-year-old Luis Ortiz. He looks like trash in that fight. Gets rocked several times. Loses literally almost every single round. Luis Ortiz puts on a clinic against Deontay Bomb Squad Wilder. And what happens? People praise him for beating Luis Ortiz, which I find completely hilarious, because wait a minute. So you gave Anthony Joshua a hard time for having a tough fight and knocking out Vladimir Klitschko, who was a long-reigning champion, a long-reigning former unified champion that nobody could beat, right? For several years, right? Everybody knows who Vladimir Klitschko is. You gave Anthony Joshua a hard time for that, but when Deontay Wilder goes life and death against a contender, a guy who never even became a champion, in Luis King Kong Ortiz, you praise him. What type of stupid shit is that? So you give Anthony Joshua or AJ a hard time for struggling against Vladimir Klitschko, but you praise Deontay Wilder for struggling against a fucking contender who was never even a champion, who was up there in age? Like, how dumb is that? Once again, giving Wilder a pass. Always giving Deontay Wilder a pass. Deontay Wilder fans love to give Deontay Wilder a pass. It's not equal. It's not an even playing field when it comes to Deontay Wilder fans. Deontay Wilder could get away with certain things that this guy can't. And then he ducks Dillian White. Deontay Wilder blatantly ducks Dillian White. Eddie Hearn offers him like twice. I remember like 2 years ago he offered him $4 million to face Dillian White. People made videos saying $4 million ain't enough for Deontay Wilder to go to England, the UK, and face Dillian White. Like, how stupid is that? During that particular time, Deontay Wilder had never even earned $4 million. He blatantly ducks Dillian White, and people gave him a pass for that. And you know what they said to defend him? They said, "Oh, Deontay Wilder needed more money to fight Dillian White." They defended him using Deontay Wilder's own logic that $4 million is not enough money. You need to pay me more money. They gave him a pass, but God forbid somebody like Anthony Joshua did something like that and said, "I'm not gonna fight you for $4 million." They'll call him a straight up ducker. Then he ducks him again last year when Eddie Hearn offers him even more money. "I'll give you $6 million to face Dillian White in the UK." Once again, Deontay Wilder calls Dillian White Eddie Hearn's black spare tire. "I'm not gonna face him." People gave him a pass for that. So he openly ducks Dillian White. But like I said, imagine if that's Joshua. He'll be crucified, homie. Now Deontay Wilder is blatantly ducking Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua called him out, said, "Yo, fight me April 13th at Wembley." You know what Deontay Wilder said? No thanks. No thanks, homie. I want to face Tyson Fury in a rematch. I want to face Tyson Fury in a rematch because that's what the people want to see. That's what the LDBC want to see. Shout out to the LDBC. That's what the LDBC want to see, you know? That's what the people want to see. And then after that, he still ducks Anthony Joshua when he blatantly says, "Listen, if Tyson Fury doesn't want to face me, we always got Dominic Brazil." So he's already telling you who he's planning on fighting next. He never mentions Anthony Joshua. Why not? So he's blatantly ducking Dillian White and Anthony Joshua. This year, Deontay Wilder will face Tyson Fury in a rematch, and then Dominic Brazil by the end of the year. And you know what people are going to say? They're going to say Anthony Joshua was ducking him. That's how they're going to end the year off, 2019. The reason this happened was, first of all, a rematch between Tyson Fury, that's obligated, you know. It had to happen. It was controversial. You know, Tyson Fury is the lineal champion. He's the real champion, lineal. And then he was forced to face Dominic Brazil because, you know, mandatory obligations, son. You know about that, mandatory obligations. But, you know, yeah, it was Anthony Joshua's fault. Yeah, son. That's what they're going to say. They're going to say it was Anthony Joshua's fault. Always blaming Anthony Joshua for everything. It's always Anthony Joshua's fault. It's always the British man's fault, right? It's never Deontay Wilder's fault. It wasn't Deontay Wilder's fault that Vladimir Klitschko never fought him, right? It was Vladimir Klitschko's fault. Vladimir Klitschko was the reason Deontay Wilder never fought him, right? Joseph Parker is the reason Deontay Wilder never fought him. It's his fault. Dillian White is the reason Deontay Wilder never fought him. Anthony Joshua was the reason Deontay Wilder never fought him. It's always everybody else's fault minus Deontay Wilder, right? Deontay Wilder turned pro at 19 though. He started boxing at 19 though. Bitch, Anthony Joshua started boxing at 18. How come he fought Klitschko first? Oh yeah, I went there. How come he fought Klitschko first? He turned pro at 18, homie. Gerard Washington turned pro, started boxing at 28. He challenged for a fucking world championship belt against Deontay Wilder at like 35. He started, but yeah, he started at 28. How come he wasn't? And he had like less than 20 fights when he challenged for a world championship belt. Why wasn't he saying I'm too green? I'm too green. I started boxing too late. Because it wasn't a punk. Like some heavyweight champions I know. You got to look at other champions of the past. Okay? You got to look at other divisions, weight divisions. How come they don't have no issues unifying with other champions? Why not? Why didn't Alexander Usyk have issues with any other champion? Huh? Why was it so easy for him to unify? Why didn't Terence Crawford have any issues to unify? Why didn't Keith Thurman have any issues to unify? There's been several fighters in several weight divisions that were able to unify, and they became champions during the same era and during the same time period of Deontay Wilder. But he wasn't able to unify, right? Why was that? But of course, Deontay Wilder gets a pass. Everybody's liking Deontay Wilder, according to Deontay Wilder fans. He's the boogeyman. He's the boogeyman with that right hand. That straight right hand scares everybody senseless. It scares them so much that they absolutely refuse to get in the ring with him. Right? That's the narrative that people want to say. Well, the problem is everybody's afraid of Deontay Wilder. Everybody's afraid of Deontay. Every single heavyweight. If you don't fight Deontay Wilder, you're afraid of him. But it's like, bitch, several heavyweights have called him out. Several heavyweights. I've told you guys in the past. But apparently they're all bitches. They're all afraid. Right? Or it's just talk. Anyone could just talk, Rag. Anyone could just talk. This is just talk. Now they're calling him out. Deontay Wilder needs to seriously step his game up this year. I'm sick and tired of saying Deontay Wilder is still not unifying. How the fuck is it 4 years into his career and he hasn't fucking unified? That's some fucking bullshit. How the fuck you win a belt and you still don't unify? How the fuck you just sit back and let some other guy just surpass you and leapfrog you? That should make you feel embarrassed as a fighter. You're supposed to be the next big thing, man. We American boxing fans have high hopes for you. Or at least I had. So stop embarrassing us for once and get in there and fight Anthony Joshua. Even if you lose, you'll gain respect like that. Fight Dillian White, man. Go over to the UK and fight him. Even if you lose, you'll gain respect. Even if you fucking lose, you'll gain respect. Anyway, guys, that's up to say. Thanks for watching. If you're new to the channel and you enjoyed the video, subscribe, man. I make videos every day. I'm the most consistent boxing channel on YouTube. I make videos every day. And thumbs the video up if you enjoyed this video, guys. I changed the mic, so hopefully the mic sounds better. So yeah, guys, thanks for watching, and have a good day. Bye-bye.